In Dark Water, Book 1 of Detective Shona Oliver series, written by Lynne Mcewan, read by Angela Ness.
For my father, John Faulkner McEwan, the first storyteller.
Prologue. I'm way past scared. Panic's roaring through my veins like the first fix. Some punters like to see that you're feared. They get off on it. Sick. Does my head in. But this evil bastard's not a punter. He's a psycho, screaming at me to tell him stuff I don't know. I keep saying, "It isn't me you want," but he doesn't listen. It's dark. The car moving fast. Me in the back seat, his arm around my throat, choking me. And the fucker's got this knife inching towards my eye. Blood and piss on the leather seat I'm slipping down. I try to call out to the driver for help, to stop the car, but then the cold metal of the knife touches my cheek and I freeze. He picked me up from the squat in Carlisle. Flash car, a 4B with tinted windows. Nice clothes, expensive aftershave. I've seen him around. Shaved dark hair, face like a skull. Said he was an old pal of Bucky's, but Buck didn't seem too pleased to see him. "You'll be compensated for your time." That's what he said, like I was doing them both a favour, like I had a choice, like my time was worth something. I thought, this'll be class, I can squeeze some cash out of him. He said he just wanted to talk to me. We'd have a wee drink. I could tell him what my friends were up to. Well, that's a joke. Someone like me has no friends. When I laughed, he hit me hard in the face. Couldn't see the funny side. I wanted to shout at the bastard, "My only friend is the next fix."
He won't be the only man to send me to oblivion.
My father was first. He belted me 'cause I gave him the cracked plate instead of the only good one in our house. I was about 7 years old at the time. I'd spent hours making mince and tatties for his birthday 'cause I knew it was his favourite. Then he said I could give him a different present. I didn't know what he meant. I had no money for anything. None of us ever did. He showed me, though. Sometimes when I read stories in magazines about women who were abused by their fathers, I'll laugh. There was never any of that, "You're my special girl" stuff, or "It's our little secret." Not for me. He never threatened me, muttering in his beery breath what would happen if I told. He didn't need to. Everyone knew. My mother, my sister, the teachers. They all knew. Kept their heads down, did nothing. When they let me out of hospital the second time, bandages on my wrists like twin bracelets, I went south. But it was too late. Change of scenery, but really it was just the same old scene. Old habits die hard, as the nun said to the junkie. At least my kid is a boy. He might stand a better chance. You get big enough, you can hit back. From the rear seats of the car, I can just about see the bent flower heads of the motorway lights, bright blobs swimming through my tears, watching over me, flicking past like seconds counting down to the end. Skirt rucked up and a hole in my new tights, snot and blood bubbling out of my nose like I'm a wee girl. Cars slowing down. The fucker still got hold of me. But I'm not daft. If I see a chance, I'll run. For a moment, a blue square with a white cross fills the window, and I know where I am. I'm northbound, on the A74. I'm going home. I know the sign. I know what it says. Welcome to Scotland. Chapter 1. The call for assistance came into Kirkness lifeboat station on the Solway Firth on Saturday morning. Shona Oliver's pager sounded just as she was placing the teapot down in the dining room. "Shout!" she called to husband Rob. She dashed into the kitchen, gave him a quick kiss, grabbed her car keys and ran from the house. The two B&B guests stared open-mouthed after her. "Lifeboat, she's on call," Rob explained as he entered the room a moment later and set down full Scottish breakfasts before the astonished guests. A husband and wife walking duo from Edinburgh. "Oh, that's grand," said the woman, thrilled to have acquired a nugget of holiday colour. Just the ticket for the postcards she'd already purchased. "You must be very proud." "Actually, it's a bit of a pain," Rob replied, glancing at his watch, seeing his guests' uncertain expressions. He rolled his eyes and offered his most charming smile. "Means I'll be doing the washing up." They laughed, nervously, invited to enjoy a joke they didn't quite understand. "Oh, that's grand," the woman muttered again, picking up her knife and fork. No one knew if she meant Shona's dedication to public service or the black pudding on the plate before her. Shona was second in, behind coxswain Tommy McCall and just before Callum Stewart, the village's 21-year-old postman. Within 9 minutes of the alarm sounding, the Margaret Wilson was flat out at 25 knots, heading up the Solway Firth, the green arms of Scotland and England stretched out on either side of them, hazy in the early light. Later, it might turn into a fine day. "The maintenance boat from Robin Rig Wind Farm reported seeing someone in the water," McCall shouted to Shona and Callum, over the noise of the wind and the outboard motor. "The Coast Guard thinks the casualty has been washed up on Midton Bank." He pointed to the chart on the screen of the lifeboat's electronic navigation console. "With the tide running down, they can't get any closer in with the big boats." Callum knelt in the bows and looked ahead, searching for any sign of their target. McCall, on the helm, nudged Shona. When she turned to look at him, he mouthed, "Unconfirmed Delta." She knew what that meant. Unconfirmed death. It wasn't looking good for the casualty. Tommy touched just beneath his eye with 2 fingers, then indicated Callum. She knew what that meant too. Keep a watch on Callum. McCall was right. It was often difficult for newer crew members to deal with the recovery of a dead body. She remembered some of the fatalities she'd encountered when she'd lived in London and first volunteered at Tower Lifeboat Station on the Thames. She'd known nothing about boats, joining the RNLI with a yacht-loving boyfriend. He'd gone, she stayed, finding common ground with fellow volunteers from all walks of life, salesmen, drivers, plumbers. With police training, she was better prepared than most for the deaths, but it was still heartbreaking. The drunks, the accidents, the deliberate attempts to enter the water, as they termed the suicides, both successful and unsuccessful. Sometimes, without a living human being to return to the lifeboat station or hand over to the ambulance services, it was easy to experience a sense that, on some level, you'd failed. Saving a life was what it was all about. The feeling you got from that made it all worthwhile. The cold, the danger, partners left in restaurants and at parties, or just at home with the washing up. The flash of irritation on Rob's face this morning, when the pager sounded and she'd kissed him goodbye, came back to her. Well, he could handle it. It was the end of the summer season, only a couple of guests. It had been his idea to move back to his home patch of Dumfriesshire after he resigned from the bank 2 years ago. The B&B was supposed to be his thing. Their daughter Rebecca had been 13 at the time, but already getting into trouble at school. It seemed a good idea to move out of London, a fresh start for them all. And it had been. The beautiful setting, the community, she'd fallen in love with it from day one. The Margaret Wilson, named after the Solway martyr, a young woman drowned for her religious beliefs, slowed as they approached Midton Bank. The Admiralty chart on the nav console screen now showed large areas.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?